Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Lunch and Learn presented by Officer Reports. This week, we'll be learning about how to edit and edit a site. My name is John Greer. I'm the Customer Experience Manager here at Officer Reports. And so, why is adding or editing a site important? Well, we'll teach you today how to tighten your geo-fencing areas at a location by using custom shapes. We'll show you how to require approval before your daily activity reports, incident, and field inspection reports are shown to your client. And we'll show you how you can receive email alerts when an officer doesn't clock in or out by using our smart features. If you have any questions during this presentation, please click on the green chat bubble located in the upper portion of your screen. When that drop-down is pulled out, you'll see a chat box. Go ahead and click on what should say at all and change it to at John Greer, and that'll allow you to direct message me. So we'll collect questions during this presentation and we'll answer those at the end. And now let's go ahead and get on to the live demonstration. Okay. As you see, I've logged into my Officer Reports account, and it shows the Site Activity Summary, which is the first screen you see whenever you log into Officer Reports under the main site. We'll go ahead and go to Setup, Sites. You'll see I've already got sites listed here, but what we're going to do is actually add a site in this video. Add site, and enter the address of your site location. As you see here, this is a shopping mall, and the circle, which is what the geo-fencing type we currently have, is a little large, so we can tighten it a little bit, but you still see that adds some extra buffer room, some room we don't necessarily want our officers to be able to get into the Officer Report system when selecting a site. You see over here, here's the apartment complex, and a few outlying businesses that we really don't want to cover at this specific site. We change that to a rectangle, and then we can pull it in here by the edges, just like so. And we zoom in. We see that takes care of part of the problem, but this is a rather interesting site in the way it's shaped. So what we'll then do is we'll decide to go ahead and use a custom shape. Click on the custom shape option box. And then we'll start in the corner here. You can simply click on the first area, add a dot. We'll go ahead and go over here, add another dot. Add one in this bend here. Take this out a little bit. And as you see, when we're adding a custom shape, it's super easy to do. Just continue adding little dots here. Now, you do want to leave a little bit of a margin for error because GPS signals can be off slightly. So since our security guard officers at this specific site actually patrol the outer edge of the parking area, we want to make sure that they're able to do that, leaving slight room for error in this inner ring here, which is actually a road. And as you take a look at here, we've got a custom shapes defined specifically for the site. So your officers can log in and clock in anywhere in this geo-fencing area so that they're not, say if this is their apartment complex they're living at, they're not clocking in or logging into the site over here. Or if they're at any one of these restaurants or what appear to be restaurants here, they're not logging in or clocking in while they're at a restaurant. So we've got this pretty tight around the shopping center here, just to make sure that our officers can log in and we identify them as actually being on the site. The next topic we'll go ahead and go over here is we want to make sure that you select a client name that this will be going under. And for site name for this specific site, we're going to just name it Shopping Center. Going on to the report options, this will allow you to select for incident report, daily activity report, as well as the field inspection report if you need approval required, if you want them to be edited. The default option for the field inspection report is approval is required and it is editable. Now, the field inspection report is used by supervisors to check on officers as they're at the site. So let's say, for example, we want to make sure that our incident reports and daily activity reports are editable. And we don't want the incident reports to be approval required, but we do want to take a look at our daily activity reports before we approve them for the client to be able to view. So again, incident report approval required is not selected. So as soon as your officers enter that information into the officer report system, it'll be immediately accessible to your clients. Daily activity report, you want to review this before they go out. So we've gone ahead and selected approval required for that. That way you can take a look at it and then approve the daily activity report once you've reviewed that completely and you're comfortable with it going out to your client. Field inspection reports, we generally see these always approval required. Again, these are for your supervisors to do what's called field inspection, to check on your officers. If there is something in there, maybe they're not actively awake, or actively alert at the job site and you need to put that in the report, you want to make sure that before you send that or before you make it viewable to your client, that you have maybe done sort of disciplinary action or coach the officer on how to improve upon what you found during the field inspection. This is where we get assigned a supervisor to a site. Now, it'll pull from the current supervisor list you currently have within officer reports. We only have one here, John Smith, so we'll go ahead and assign him as a supervisor at the site. Moving on to the smart feature settings, we do have the ability for you to clock in and out by phone using landline only. If you do select this option here, you've got two options to enter a phone number. Now, these specific phone numbers, whenever you call into a specified number that we've got in the support center, which is really uses fine in our support center, click on landline only, and then you'll enter a number in which your officers will call. So if it's a landline in the security office where you want your officers to clock in at, they'll dial the number, enter their code, and they'll be clocked in or clocked out. We'll leave that option unchecked though. We'll use the built-in software clocking in and clocking out. Check for tour scanner activity. So let's say you've got a site that has 20 tour stops and you want those to be checked every 2 hours. So we'll go ahead and enable the smart feature for check tour tracker scan activity. Minimum between checks, we'll go ahead and put it at 120. Now this is in minutes, so that would be, of course, 2 hours. Minimum total scans. Now we want them in this, we'll create a scenario where there's a front desk where they start at and they go through all their checks, and you want them to hit the front desk again at the end of their tour. So minimum total scans, we'll go ahead and put that to 21, and minimum unique tour stop scan rather, we'll go ahead and set that to 20. So again, going over these options, you've got 2 hours between checks, and within those 2 hours, 20 unique tour stops have to be scanned, and minimum total scans has to be 21, because we want that officer to hit that front desk twice, once when beginning their tour stop and once when ending their tour stop. We also want to go ahead and enable check for clock in. make sure that your officers are on the site. Now, this is the range in which you want your officers to be able to clock in without the system throwing an email alert to you, letting you know that the officer has not clocked in. Some employers allow their employees to clock in 5 minutes before time, so go ahead and put a 5 here. And if you want to be notified that at the exact start date of their schedule that they have not clocked in, you can set a 0 at this location. Some employers give their employees up to a minute afterwards, which you would enter a minute after start time. So between the 5 minutes prior to the shift starting and a minute after the shift starts, so long as the officer clocks in during that time frame, you will not receive an alert. If they clock out after those time frames, you will receive an alert, and if they don't clock in at all, you'll receive that alert. And we'll go down to the check for clock out. So in most instances, companies don't want their officers to clock out at all early. So we'll go ahead and set this first 1 minute before end time to 0, and minutes after end time. A lot of times, companies will give employees some leeway time, maybe about 15 minutes to wrap things up to the end of their shift. Maybe they're caught doing a daily activity report or finishing that up, or maybe they are finishing an incident report where near the end of their shift they were kind of brought into an incident where they need to finish up an incident report. Go ahead and set that one to 15. So the check for clock out, anytime between the end of their shift and 15 minutes, they're allowed to clock out. If they clock out before then, or they clock out after the minutes after the end time, you'll receive an alert. If they're still clocked in after 15 minutes after the end of their shift, you'll receive an alert that they haven't clocked out, at which point you may just want to give that site a call saying, hey, I noticed that you're clocked in, and, is there something going on? Is there something we can help you out with? And a lot of times it's just, I got pulled into this at the end of the shift. I'm just finishing it up and I'll clock out as soon as I'm done. Our smart features give you the tools and the ability to better manage your security officers. So we provide automated tools to allow you to do that. So again, the tour tracker scan activity, if you want those to be checked within a specific time frame, if the ESA, for example, minimum unique stops scanned is not 20, or they don't get the 20 tour stops scanned, you'll be sent an alert. It'll tell you how many tour stops were actually scanned. If your officer does not clock in, either 5 minutes before their shift start time or a minute after their shift start time, you'll be alerted. And if they clock out early, so anytime before 0 minutes before the end of their shift and up to 15 minutes after the end of the shift, you'll be alerted as well via email. Go ahead and submit this here. And we'll go ahead and open up another site. We'll open that one up for editing. Now you see here, there's another shopping center that I've got selected here with pretty much a default rectangle geofencing area. Go ahead and drag this in because we don't want our officers to be able to clock in, clock out, select the work site, anywhere near here or anywhere outside of this geofencing area. But if you take a look at this, no matter what we do, this area over here, they're able to clock in and clock out, or just actually log on to the site. That's something that we want to have happen. If you select a circle for this site and drag it in, move the center of the site over a little bit, zoom in, and then shrink it a little more. You see that these spaces right over here and these spaces right over here is something that we don't want our officers to be able to select the site or clock in from. So again, we'll go ahead and use a custom shape. And we'll just say they cover the parking lot and the structure itself. So we'll go ahead and select area here, here, back here, and move this one out just a little bit. So in this specific instance, your officers will be able to clock in from the parking lot or select the site from the parking lot. Now, if we wanted to even pull this in closer, let's say your guards didn't actively patrol the parking lot. Go ahead and pull this in. Pull this one as well. You could pull them in, or we can just start over from scratch here. If I can start over from scratch. This one out a little bit. And at this point, your officers will be able to check the status, or rather, sign in from this specific geofencing location. Now, we did add a slight buffer here. Again, GPS coordinates can be slightly off, so we want to make sure we have that buffer, that we were not preventing any officers from logging in or clocking in. So we've got this slight little buffer here, which allows us that flexibility. We'll go ahead and update that site. Okay, and on to the question and answer portion of our Lunch and Learn. Let's see if we've got any questions pending out there. Now, if you didn't have any questions during the original phase or when I was going over how to add or edit a site, feel free to go ahead and submit a question now, maybe something we didn't cover or something you're interested in covering regarding adding or editing the site. And we'll give you a couple moments here to submit that answer or that question. Okay, and not showing anything submitted so far, so we'll go ahead and end the question and answer phase. Now, at the bottom of the email you received for the Lunch and Learn, there was a section that says schedule a training session. Now, what you'll be able to do is you can click on that blue schedule training box. You'll be taken to a calendar, which allows you to proactively schedule an appointment that best fits your time schedule with one of our customer support agents. So if there's another topic that you'd like to cover, you need assistance, any of our customer support agents will be more than happy to assist you. Just go ahead and select a time. You'll get their information as far as the calling in and what conference line they're currently using. And at that specific time frame that you select to be speaking with a customer support representative, which will do much of the same thing that I'm doing here. Screen share showing you through the software. So again, if there's something we haven't covered here that you'd like to get more information about, please do feel free to click on the schedule training button to schedule a training with one of our customer support representatives. Also in that email, there was a button to get access to our support center at support.officerreports.net. It is the go-to place for everything officer reports. Literally anything that we could have thought of that you may need assistance with is in the support center. You can simply do a quick search at the top in the search box to find any detailed information or anything that you believe you might need to know partnering with. You can also reach out to our wonderful technical support team at techsupport@OfficerReports.com. The tech support is absolutely great, and they are rather quick in answering the tech support inquiries. So we definitely recommend if there's something that's not in the support center or something you don't believe needs a training session for by one of our customer support representatives, please do reach out to tech support again at techsupport@OfficerReports.com. Well, again, my name is John Greer, again, the customer experience manager here at Officer Reports. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today, and you all have a wonderful Wednesday and a wonderful rest of the week.